Alright, so this video is about problems faced by the homeless. Officers are trained how to not end up with a civil suit. One of the things that they're trained to do is to go after homeless people who don't have the money for a civil lawyer. There just aren't enough civil lawyers who care because, well, public opinion of the homeless people is so terrible. Why is the public opinion of homeless people so terrible? Because they lose so many cases. Why do they lose so many cases? Because they're harassed by the police. Why do the police harass them? Well, that'd be because they know that we don't have the money for a civil lawyer. So it all goes around full circle. A lot of people did a lot of really messed up things. And although I have evidence of it, getting somebody to take a look at it is a pain. When you're homeless, people treat you like crap for having stuff like computers and telephones. If you're homeless, why are you buying stuff like that? Well, to stay in contact. If you want to get a job this day and age, it's difficult to get a job without one. People tell you to go to the library and stuff like that. You got to get a library card so you can get onto their computer, and then you get a very limited amount of time on that computer. Usually about half an hour. In Boulder, you can get a longer period of time, up to an hour, but you have to have a library card to do that. I had a library card in Boulder, but they had a book that I had checked out, and even though I turned it back in, they never wrote it down as being turned back in, so I had my library card revoked. A lot of people wanted to make assumptions about what was going on and just assume that I was wrong because I'm autistic, or call me narcissistic, or crazy, and schizophrenic, and all sorts of crazy shit like that. I've never been schizophrenic. Now, I have hallucinated while on medications, which is part of the reason that I stopped taking the medications. That and the fact that I couldn't think, it made me sick, I was always irritable, I just couldn't think. So, I had tried to get officers to help me with this situation on multiple occasions before Natalie died. I was given the, you need to man up treatment. See, when a woman's psycho, a man is just supposed to take it. Cops don't give a shit. You have a penis, so it must be your fault. Or you have a penis, so you're better equipped to handle it. I was gang stalked by a lot of people over what happened in Virginia. And although I posted plenty of evidence showing that I was telling the truth, it didn't matter. I posted that evidence because every time I tried to show the police, they pulled some BS. I was overwhelmed and I was having an autistic fucking meltdown, and I'm getting treated like trash for it. So, in order to actually do this stuff, first of all, I need a place where I can talk about the case. Make phone calls and actually talk about the case. Problem is, I need my electronics to do that. And with the thing that the cops have been doing with not recording anything, well, it makes it so that I have to record it. My computer stays on for, well, about an hour, hour and a half if I'm making videos and connected to the internet. So I have to find somewhere to plug in. I can only plug in a half an hour at a time, and it takes about 2 hours to charge my computer. So I have to buy something every 30 minutes. However, because of how homeless people are treated, pretty much nationwide, people just assume that if you're a homeless person, you're a filthy, nasty druggie who doesn't want to get a job. I don't want to get a job. I don't want to pay these people any more for the things that they do to homeless people. But I'm also disabled and I'm overwhelmed and my head is fucked up. That's not a decision that I made. Everywhere that I go, people have assumptions about what I need to be doing, and they keep suggesting drugs. I don't need drugs. I need an environment where people aren't screaming at me and treating me like trash because I'm not doing what they want when they want. My dad knows exactly how to push my buttons. So does my brother. So does my mother. So does Lana. So does Amanda. All these people know exactly what they're doing. I don't understand why. I don't understand why it is that they go out of their way to treat me so terribly, especially after everything that I have done for them. But it's something I gotta deal with nonetheless. So I get 30 minutes worth of plug-in time. That gives me about 15 minutes on my computer here. And most of the places that I go, they have a time limit that you're allowed to stay in there. And the time limit is different depending on who you are. If you're a regular, or if you look good, or if you dress nicely, then they'll let you stay in there for a while. But if you look homeless, people walk by you and they mean mug you. They look at you like you raped their dog. Or like you would rape their dog. And it's cruelty, having to endure that every day. Then there's the expense of it. Like for me, if I'd have been able to have my money instead of the police taking it and forcing me to stay in an area where I was being assaulted, refusing to take a report about that assault, claiming that they would repeatedly, and then going out of their way not to send me into a panic attack and then assault me and drug me. They did this on multiple occasions. Why? Because they knew I was trying to report against the police. A lot of the people who threw me away, it's because they're afraid of the police, and I have evidence of this. Candace Borodont, or Candace Dale as I knew her growing up, she was scared shitless of the police. But she also lied outright while I was there. This is something that she had done previously, so I was used to it. It doesn't make it any better. Her, just like Jamie and pretty much all the other people that I stayed with or was gonna stay with, let me know exactly what caliber of firearm they had and exactly what they would do if their kids were threatened. Well, if that were the case, then Candace would have shot Officer Michael Beard right in the head with a .45. Why? Because that's what she said she'd do if somebody threatened her children. Did she? No. She was scared. Ultimately, that led to me trying to kill myself at a hotel in Lafayette, I believe. Lafayette or Louisville. I needed the police to take my report. They wouldn't. I needed someone to go in with me to force the police to take a report. And nobody had time. Everybody was afraid of the police. What me and Candace ultimately had a knockdown drag out about was the fact that she wouldn't go to the police, especially after what happened. So, we texted a bunch of mean stuff back and forth. Mostly, she texted me a bunch of lies, knowing that I would expose them. Knowing that I would take screenshots of them and post them up for the world to see. Now, a lot of the issue that I had is that I don't know much about the computers, and at the very beginning, in January, I didn't have a computer to work with. I was doing everything on my telephone. I was doing everything in my power to try to get the truth out, to try to show it to somebody, and the police were going out of their way to paint me as terribly as possible. So then I got people who want me to tell the story to them. They're not going to do anything with it, but they want me to tell them the story. And then I got alcoholics and druggies who are telling me they love me, people that I've known for years. And then I get a hold of them, and what do? They talk about themselves all fucked up on drugs or alcohol for, well, as long as they possibly can. I'm trying to get myself help to clear my name and get myself somewhere safe. Now, Christine Mujiz, she's the one whose account I was using. She shut that account down Now, part of that reason is because she's a heroin user, has been for a lot of years, methamphetamines too. She was afraid of the police. She told me that she would help me out, and she would fill out a police report and help me get my name out there. Well, help me to clear my name. But then when it came to actually doing that, she didn't. It's been over a year since Natalie was killed. I've been trying to get help with this since before Natalie was killed. That's part of the reason that the officers in every place that I went did the things that they did. They knew that they had done wrong, and they didn't want the public to know it. They wanted to paint me as some sort of a crazy person. Now, when I went to talk to Sheriff DaCosta in Chapel, Nebraska, he gave me the recording, the one from the incident at my grandma's funeral. And during that incident, that officer, even though it was a 911 call, didn't make a written report. Alicia Bollinger and her father were harassing me over Alicia's YouTube account. These people had been doing this for a while. Alicia and her friend Dalton Crawford had been taking part in this harassment way since the beginning. When I first hurt my back, there was a man in Boulder who stole my backpack. He knew that it was my backpack. He knew that I was staying behind the pedestrian shop in Boulder, and that I was using one of the recycling bins as a storage unit when I went to sleep. The cops hadn't let me sleep in 5 days, so when I finally was able to go to sleep, this guy took the opportunity to steal my backpack. Well, after Natalie disappeared and I went to Boulder, I saw this guy again. He said Alicia had been down there. She went to the band shell there on Canyon and Broadway and was screaming about me, saying I was a this and I was a that and I killed her sister and things like that. Basically slandering my name to the homeless population there. I had been speaking out about how the police treat the homeless in Boulder County for years. So when Natalie went disappeared, and I had been asked by Detective Peterson of the Adams County Sheriff's Department, or Adams County Police Department, I don't know which. I just know he's a detective. He asked me to go to Boulder, so I did. I was supposed to wait there for him to bring me my computer the next day, which he did not. Because of the way that I was painted, most of the people who know me were too afraid to do anything. Too scared. A lot of them were afraid that I had done it. They're like, oh, well, he's a little different. He must have. He's crazy. He must have. No, just because I'm different doesn't mean that I'm the person who's going to go doing that stuff. If I beat your ass, there's a reason for it. And it's not because you're swinging at me. I mean, hell, when Derek Apicata was swinging at me, I knew he wasn't going to hurt me. He's not able. He's not capable. He's too weak. Had I actually been at risk of being injured by him, I probably would have fucked him up quick, fast, and in a hurry. The problem is that the Broomfield officers, they wouldn't take my report either. Matter of fact, there was a fat dude with newspaper wearing a badge when I went in with Miss Peaches to make a police report. Now, the officers didn't let me make a report. They just wanted me to go to Boulder, and they wanted my computer for the night. I still haven't received that computer back, and several of my public pretenders have given me different reasons why I was not allowed to have it back. Miss Peaches, she let me know that she actually went in on 3 different occasions to try to get the police to take a report, and they refused to allow it. There's a woman named Mandy Hughes. She was trying to make a police report as well, and the police would not allow it. They told her not until she is done with her own court stuff. So, I have evidence of this. I just need somebody to see it. The lady from Region 1 in Nebraska. When I went to Nebraska and rented a place and helped to get Desiree out of the situation she was in at that meth house in Cheyenne. Well, this woman from Region 1, her name is Jen Beebe, didn't know what the hell she was doing. She didn't really care. Well, she cared, she just didn't care to listen. She needed to understand the situation before she could help. Instead, she wanted to do it for me in an hour session per week. Meanwhile, there's so much stuff that I need to gather that I need the ability to do these things myself. I need my own internet access. I need money, especially at this point. All of my money is going to go back and forth between all these different court dates. Well, the problem is public pretenders aren't willing to do their jobs. I let them know exactly where the evidence is, exactly what evidence to requisition, and they all refused, every one of them. You know why I had to break the law? Because officers wouldn't do their job and I was being assaulted. But homeless people are used to this. If you're a homeless person and you're assaulted, you can't really call the police because they'll arrest you. You're the easy one to railroad. Looks good on their record if they get a conviction off of it. Lovely, right? I had to do illegal things to protect myself and to protect my loved ones. Part of that is exposing the predators. If the predators are exposed, then somebody can do something about it. The cops refused to look at the evidence, and with the public hating me as badly as they hated me after the police painted me the way that they did, I had to make my Facebook private. When I made my Facebook private, it was so that evidence wouldn't be destroyed. But then that made it so that the police couldn't look at it, and the general public couldn't look at it, and the only information that was being filtered out from my Facebook is the stuff that people were trying to use to paint me as some sort of a terrible person. And I've got all these people who said, hey man, if you got a problem, call me. Well, I called them. I called most of them repeatedly. They just wouldn't answer their phone. So I eventually gave up on them. And then later on, they treat me like trash. They're like, you know, I let you know you could call me and you didn't. Really? I did. And then there's these people who say that they're going to help. And I message them, and they never see their messenger. So, I post on their Facebook for them to contact me, and then they go out of their way to treat me like shit. People don't like the fact that I stream. The reason that I'm streaming is that I spend most of my time trying to get someone to help who will actually help me. I don't need somebody to just listen. If I needed somebody to just listen, well, that would mean that there aren't any actual other problems going on. See, I've been wrapped up in court since Natalie disappeared. Do you know why I've been wrapped up in court? Because I was assaulted by police, and after that, everywhere that I went, they refused to allow me access to an officer, refused to allow me to speak to an officer. It's been pretty screwed up. Even on the 29th, they refused to allow me to write a report about what was going on. Now, at first, I just needed to write a report about all the threats that I had been receiving and the fact that I had been gang stalked by people like Katie Whiteman, Brittany Enwall, people like that, who were basically just passing information off of my Facebook. They weren't sending any of what I said unless it tried to paint me as a bad guy, because that's the kind of people these are, especially Katie Whiteman. Katie Whiteman's boyfriend actually got involved in this too, trying to paint me as a bad guy. I blocked him, but I also took his picture. Why? It's called equality. If you're going to treat me like that, I will treat you like that. Now, all these Facebook bans, you'd be surprised at the stuff I got Facebook banned for. Some of it was for stuff like trying to educate the public on the drugs that I have to deal with. Do I use those drugs? No. But I have to deal with people who are on those drugs, and I try to educate on how to identify those people. Did that make any difference? No. No, I got banned for that. A very specific one, the one on methamphetamine. I also got banned for posting up pictures of threats to me by other people on Facebook. It's fine for them to threaten me, but it's not alright for me to post up a screenshot of that threat because it's got a picture of them in it and it has their name on it. Huh. There's a reason that I didn't report it to Facebook. The reason that I didn't report it to Facebook is because I needed it as evidence to show what was going on. Now, a lot of people saw this stuff going on and didn't report it, didn't care to. They said they were going to help. I told them what help I needed in specific. And no, they're not willing to. They're too fucking lazy. It sucks. A lot of these people, as soon as it's time for them to help me at the time that they said they would, they don't. Shannon Alvarado, I stayed with her for about a month and a half down there in California. Every night she'd get drunk. And every night, when it was, screaming time, I tried to hide in the room. There was a few times where I finally got her to say that she was going to help me with the things that she promised to help me with, and it didn't happen. You know why it didn't happen? Because she realized it was actual work. She took a few screenshots, or a few pictures of some of the paper evidence that I had, and then it was Shannon time again. It's always Shannon time at night, where she wants to whine and complain and cry and get emotional, and she stays that way most of the night. It drove me completely crazy. I mean, if you're going to help somebody, listen to the help that they need. When I helped people, I listened to them so that I would know what help they needed, so that I would be aware of the situation and be able to help them to the best of my abilities. If I just make baseless assumptions of what they need, I'm probably going to be giving them help that isn't going to work. And if I treat them like shit because that help isn't going to work and refuse to listen to why it won't work, then I'm just being an asshole, making baseless assumptions, and basically letting them know that they're not worth listening to. A lot of these people didn't like the fact that I was screaming on Facebook videos. I would have stopped screaming on Facebook videos last year if people would have actually helped how I actually needed. People kept telling me, hey, I'll send you some money for a hotel room. And that's nice, Dan Faber. The problem is that that's expensive. I can't stay at a hotel room every night. Are you kidding me? All of my money is going to travel back and forth between all of these court dates and then the appointments that they want me to go to. And if I don't go to these appointments, then I go back to jail. Meanwhile, it all costs money that I don't have. And if it weren't for disability and people like Dan Faber, I wouldn't have been able to go to those appointments. However, that ate up all of my time, and people are like, you just need to get a job. Well, that's not going to happen. Do you know why that's not going to happen? I don't have time to get a job. I have to be able to try to defend myself in fucking court, and I have to do all of the work myself because nobody's going to do it for me. The public pretenders are not going to do their jobs. Shannon's not going to stay sober long enough to help. She's going to get emotional and waste my time, so now I'm not doing it. I'm listening to Shannon. Meanwhile, I'm in her house, so I feel obligated to listen to everything that she has to say, because if I don't, then she's going to get temperamental, and she's going to throw a tantrum at me the way that she threw a tantrum at her boyfriend nearly every single night. He's just using her, and he's cheating on her, and he's this, and he's that, and he's not going to work. Well, he wasn't going to work because she asked him to help with her daughter. So he's there to help with her daughter. And she said that she would help him pay rent for that. But when it all came down to it, that's not the way that it worked out. So I spend a lot of time on these videos screaming at the top of my lungs because I need help. These people are not keeping their words. Everybody is always sick. Everybody's got cancer. Everybody's kid just got injured. Everybody this, everybody that. Yes, everybody's got problems. But I still do something through my problems. And a lot of these people, because of the fact that they're using the same excuses as so many other people, it lets me know that they're full of shit. And then when I call them on their shit, they block me. All right, that's fine. You're allowed. It's the way that they do it. You can leave. I don't have a problem with you leaving. What I have a problem with is you going out of your way to paint me as a shitty excuse for a human being because you didn't keep your word, or because you're afraid of the police, or because you're in a shitty relationship. That's a fucked up thing to do. Meanwhile, I gotta try to find a place to plug in. That costs money. I have to travel around non-stop. That costs money. Right now, I got a vehicle that eats a lot of fucking gas, and it eats a lot of oil. And I'm really questioning whether or not this is even a vehicle that I should give to a mother. I mean, sure, it's big enough, but as much oil as it's gone through, and I don't know where the leak is, I'm not a mechanic. I mean, I do the best that I can. If it was a thermostat, no problem, but it's not a thermostat. One of them jugs of oil there cost me $23 each. I went through 2 of them in 3 days because I used the car to warm up. It's cold at night. Getting in my sleeping bag, it helps me to stay warm a little bit. I still wake up cold as shit. I needed somebody in my corner, but no, people just wanted to text, knowing that it gives me panic attacks, knowing that I don't get to defend myself. They're typing stuff at me that shows their assumptions, and I can break it down. I already know what their assumptions are because of the suggestions that they're making. Meanwhile, I'm having to explain to 30 different people about why their suggestions are wrong, but they're taking it all wrong no matter what. Dan Faber used me screaming at Shannon after 3 hours of talking to her, and it wasn't me talking. It was Shannon talking nonstop while I was in Nebraska. And that's why she got yelled at. I need someone to help. That means they need to listen to understand the situation. And you know what? She didn't understand shit about my situation, but I got to hear all about hers. When I said I needed a friend, I wasn't talking about somebody to tell me about their problems nonstop. I didn't need 30 different people dumping all their problems on me. And they did. Dumping their problems on me. And I went through and I looked at a lot of those people who sent me friend requests. They're all into the same shit that Shannon is. Freddy Krueger and Jason and all these fucking serial killers. It's no wonder that they weren't interested in helping me. They found out I didn't kill Natalie and they were no longer interested. Meanwhile, I actually need actual help. And I can't get somebody to actually listen to me to actually help. Most of these people, they were giving me lip service. They pretended that they wanted to help until it was no longer entertainment on the news. Meanwhile, I'm doing everything I can to try to get back out there. What was done to me was used to harm many homeless people. Every time something like this happens, and only the police side is allowed to get seen, Well, it fucks all homeless people because it destroys public opinion of homeless people even further. Well, look at what happened there. This guy's been harassing this poor girl. No, her and her friends took part in harassing me. Not just harassing me, but treating me and my friends like shit. Were the cops willing to help me? No, but they were willing to help them. Gee, I wonder why. Because she's a pretty girl and I have a penis. So I must be wrong automatically. And then people don't want me to call them a cunt. Well, I got to tell you something. Between calling somebody a child molester who is not a child molester and calling somebody a cunt, I'd rather be called a cunt, personally. Stupid bitch works. I use that one a bit. Depends on who it is, though. I'm not going to be ashamed of my potty mouth. I won't. I was nice about it for years. But nobody heard me. Then when Natalie died and people were willing to hear me, well, the police went out of their way to do everything they could to keep me moving from place to place where I was being assaulted in all of those places, couldn't stop and charge my electronics, kept separating me from the people who were willing to help me, and ultimately were threatening them. That's pretty fucked up. So I'm trying to write the story of what was happening, and I'm trying my best to go through and reference all of the information. I can't talk about the murder case. I can't talk about rape. I can't talk about child molestation, because that starts putting up red flags in these businesses, and people don't want that in their business. They don't want their business associated with this, whether I paid to be there or not. It's completely ludicrous. Right now, I'm at a place called Hardin. It's in the Crow Reservation, just off of the Little Bighorn River, where the Custer's Last Stand took place. George Custer, this is the guy who was in command of the 7th Cavalry. Little piece of history. I'm going to make another video here shortly because I have enough charge.